right victory?
I think it does, and I think perhaps the opposition felt they had to respond to what appeared in the Herald newspaper this morning. The Herald newspaper is effectively a mouthpiece for the government. It's state-controlled. It said in its main article today that it looked like this presidential election would go to a second round. Now, the opposition say their man, Morgan Tsvangirai, has won outright. It needs more than 50% of the votes, just a simple majority, to avoid a runoff. They say that Morgan Tsvangirai has done that he's got just over 50%. The Herald this morning said that it would probably go to a runoff. The organisation that can really make the final say-so, if you like, is the Zimbabwe Election Commission. They say they're still counting. So there is an upping of the ante. There's a claim and counterclaim again, which we're beginning to get used to in this story, really. And in the middle of this, what do the ordinary Zimbabwean people feel? I think that the longer the delay, we're on day 4 now since Saturday's poll, the longer this goes on, the more anxiety grows.
Rachel, stay there. We'll pick up some of those themes in a moment, but I mentioned the MDC in that news conference. Let's just hear a snippet of what they had to say.
President Morgan Richard Tsvangirai has won this election. He has won this election not in respect of the gross vote, but in respect of attaining the majority that is required in terms of Section 110 of the Electoral Act to avoid a runoff.
Well, that was what the MDC had. You were talking about the Electoral Commission. Is there any word now we've had this when they might actually make the official call and we get to see what actually happens next? Because the opposition were talking in that news conference about the vacuum and the sorts of things that everyone is worried about that fill vacuums.
That's right. They said all sorts of mischief can fill it. In other words, that the longer this delay that goes on, the more suspicion grows that the results are being fiddled effectively. So the opposition, I think, have decided they've got to come out and say something. But I think it's interesting to note that it wasn't the opposition leader, Morgan Tsvangirai himself, who held that press conference. If he says the words through his own mouth, I have won, I am the next president of Zimbabwe, I think that would be viewed as a clear provocation. So they have ratcheted it up. In the meantime, the Zimbabwe Election Commission have said, no, we're still counting, we're still tallying, we want to do this properly, don't hurry us, it'll take as long as it takes.
OK, Rachel Harvey, thanks very much.